I was present. I'm going to keep it. I was looking forward to the verses the entire time. It was something I truly wanted to do, and I was probably more eager than the diplomats. I'm not sure. It wasn't simply that I was excited to do it because I've been seeing everyone else do it. It was more about the money. I think, yeah, we could really kill it because I know we got hits in New York City. It's like, damn, we can't possibly lose if we go. However, no one was in agreement. However, continued to do it. Have you heard? And I could tell it wasn't right as soon as I came in. Did you hear? Because only one person was present. And I realized that we weren't on it in the first place when I noticed that one individual wasn't there. We weren't practicing. We were just going on the pure Harlem. That, know how to do, we weren't doing any of that kind of. I had a sneaking suspicion that wouldn't proceed as planned. It was therefore improper to stroll in the energy. However, the crowd's enthusiasm and the atmosphere were amazing when I finally took the stage and, like that, as if I had never seen anything like that. I had a strong impression that I was entering the Garden's championship game. I had the impression that was in flow seeing everyone I knew. Walking out there feeling like a champion and was the worst feeling I've ever experienced. Do you understand what I mean? However, things didn't work out the way we had hoped. And, numerous variables and, like that. Then Kiss also became Bruce Leroy. At one point in that, Kiss became Bruce Leroy like, hey Tech, let's do something. They perform a song in New York. They simply exploited it. Opportunity began ringing off songs consecutively. Begin to rant. Y'all don't have any. For the bitches, Joelle said. That's a shout out to, DJ Technician. I screamed, oh, this isn't going right. When Jada threw the Biggie on, I said, nope, this isn't going right. This is not right. However, keep in mind that we were losing badly the entire night from the start. I had planned to perform a freestyle towards the conclusion of the evening, but just as I was about to do it, we were completely down. The audience began to boo since they didn't even want to hear it. I thought, this is just up. Everything went left that night. Hey, Camron has been stating for years that Dipet spent more time attempting to mend the group after things fell apart than they did really winning together. And now in 2026, new drama is emerging once more. Today we had the opportunity to discuss Jim Jones challenging Cam to a match after Cam recently discussed the reasons for Dipset's collapse. But you already know what I need before we get into all that. Likes, hypes, and subs. Now have a look at this XXL cover. Many still claim that this was one of the pivotal events that permanently altered Dipset as a group, a label, and a movement. Fans may have thought it was legendary at the time, but timing is crucial, and this occurred in the midst of complete turmoil. People believe that no one from Dipset was truly standing with Cam in public when he dealt with that terrible scenario involving 50 Cent. Then Cam appears to be alone in front of everyone when Jim appears to be performing with 50 Cent at an event. I'm completely 100%, but I can't think of anything right now. You must make choices that will lead to the best outcome since you have been doing this for 30 years. However, I can think of numerous poor choices that I made while attempting to be a team player. Do you understand what I mean? As I mentioned, that's a good like yo. Yes, I should never have done the verses like you. I don't perform the verses. I'm a team player. Therefore, even though I don't want to perform the verses, I made the wrong choice. Don't do that any longer. No more of that. Yes, don't do that anymore. I had a whole freestyle ready and all that, but listen man, it's crazy man, but yeah, I try to be team players a lot of times, and that's the first thing that came to mind when you say wrong decision. Yo, killer, when I was watching the verses, the only thing that kept coming to mind was, yo, if you had done the takeover after Kiss did Who Shot You, it would have gone. It would have been in a different day. Then behind the scenes anxiety increased due to the true life issue. The movement began to disintegrate in public as everyone gradually drifted apart and the gaps grew wider. For years, Jim Jones has talked about how he carried Dipet through the most difficult moments, particularly when the crew's surroundings became disorganized and the street pressure increased. We're not even going to get into all of it today, but Jim called out Cam for a versus battle, which completely escalated the situation. Tell your man I want to do a versus against him since he made us lose our last versus at the Apollo. You all call Swizz. Laugh out loud. Happy Memorial Day. Laugh out loud, Jim continued. Smoking isn't your thing, Jim continued. We all know that. So let's settle this like this. Laugh out loud. Then he doubled down once more, saying, let's settle this once and for all. We can do it right in Harlem. Then he threw another shot, saying, we know you haven't been here in a while, but they still love you. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Jim's remarks were obviously intended to irritate Cam, and people began taking sides on the internet right away. Let's be honest now. For his name to be respected, Cam does not have to be standing in Harlem every day. Camron has already left his mark on New York history, particularly in relation to Harlem and the city as a whole. Furthermore, I have to admit right off that Jim may not truly want to fight Cam. That doesn't diminish Jim either, since he undoubtedly created his own legacy and established a solid reputation for himself over time. At first, Jim was actually the one who was most questioned. Many admirers didn't think he would become as well known as he did. When diplomatic immunity first came out, the majority of people thought the project's primary goal was to make Jules Santana a superstar. However, Jim quietly gained his own respect during all of that by using the streets, mixtapes, and pure grind mode until others were forced to pay attention. Now, things get risky quickly when it comes to this potential conflict with Cam. Man, there will be a rematch between them. Because, buddy, when we discussed the Verzuz, it was really significant and unique for hip-hop. It was such a lovely day for one person. Do you understand what I mean? And did we win in the end? Well, perhaps not. Didn't go as planned. The Locks, after all, arrived well prepared. Personally, I would say that this is my viewpoint. We had greater music, in my opinion, but they seemed to outperform and outwork us in terms of stage presence. Is that because they don't collaborate like they did with the way the music was presented? Because you two don't perform together too often. She was right when she said that. I concur with what Sheik stated. They are a collective. Prior to being independent artists, they were a collective. Before we became a collective, we were solo artists. Cam is Cam. Jewel owns Jules. Jim is Jim. We were so fly that we banded together to form Diplomats. Each of us was enormous. When taken as a whole, it resembles voting. Cam still has records and events that he most likely hasn't even experienced yet. He's not a performer. People are already aware of how extensive his archive is, and he isn't pulling out those timeless DJ Hent freestyles. And what if Cam began inviting unexpected people out? Bringing out Max B would probably be Jim's only genuine way to match that excitement, and if that happened, the internet would go crazy. To be honest, I see this whole event as legendary entertainment, but some people could see it as more Dipset drama. I'm also serious. Hip-hop aficionados wouldn't want to miss this, especially after what transpired with the Locks versus Dipset. Therefore, I would be in the front row watching every second of it. I saw the Locks and Dipset the other day while I was in Houston, correct? I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. But I think Dipset got this right, man. Bro Jada Kiss. That man is concerned. It wouldn't be 80. On stage every time he performed with Styles P. It was like space. I simply realized, hey, we are home. We are in New York where like rap started. We're at Madison Square Garden. We are known. We have a name. We feed our family because we use our voiceover instrumentals. We're on a stage right now with the microphone specifically for that. Why are y'all rapping over the songs? He repeatedly said. When he said that, I thought, he cares. He gives that. He wasn't too cool to care. You've got to be not too cool because if you're too cool, you're going to freeze to death. That battle caused damage inside Dipset that still feels unfinished almost 5 years later. Even now, people still bring it up non-stop. Just listen to how Jules talked about the Verzuz with Shy-Ass Buds. Now look, Atlanta fans are probably going to say that Dipset had better music overall. You get what I'm saying? That's how it appeared. After started to go left, our DJ was supposed to know. I felt like no diss. I'm not going to say any names, just like when I told Jada to kiss, right? I said, oh, y'all don't have any girl records. Tech, play a melody of my girl shit, he remarked. And he simply went into all of his girl, back to back. Mariah Carey said, oh. Jada was saying the appropriate thing at the right moment too. Jada also earned a lot of records on a lot of major records that are not his that people forget about too. Benjamin's. Come on. You get what I mean? That's not a Locks record. Like certain records, it's like these are coming in. You can't really, it's like we're going against #1 hits back to back. Jada knew how to take control of the show. One thing I noticed was that he didn't do what he did when he was with Fab. I just can't agree with that. We're talking about one of the best lyrical groups hip-hop has ever seen with the Lox. Jada, Styles P, and Chic Louch were different animals on those records and mixtapes. Before Money, Power, and Respect even dropped, they already had the mixtape scene in a chokehold. Then when We Are the Streets came out, it got even crazier. Don't get me wrong, Dipset definitely became a cultural movement, but back in the late 1990s, everything was still building up behind the scenes until around 2001 or 2002 when Dipset really exploded everywhere. But the Lox already had years of chemistry, bars, experience, and battle-tested energy by then. That's why during that Verzuz battle, it honestly looked like Dipset walked into a situation they weren't fully ready for, and people noticed it immediately. And the crazy thing is, fans still keep asking Jules about that battle nonstop because it became one of the biggest hip-hop moments ever streamed online. Even Tyler, the creator, was reacting and commenting on the Verzuz because the whole culture was locked in watching it unfold live. You had all kinds of people online reacting in real time to what they watched happen during that Dipset Verzuz battle. A lot of fans still say they never expected to see Dipset get picked apart like that on such a huge stage. Now, to be fair, Dipset already had internal problems long before that battle even happened, and some of the damage was already done behind the scenes. But listen to how Jules keeps talking about the Lox and that whole situation. This tension has clearly been sitting there for years, and you can still feel the bitterness whenever they bring it up. Not too long ago, Jim Jones even posted on his story, "I and Jules should have done the Verzuz by ourselves. I didn't choose the list." Laugh aloud. Niggas must have their notifications on every time I talk. Kim shot back in the comments, "I'm sorry niggas for torturing your minds." So yeah, the shots are definitely still flying back and forth even now in 2026. And deep down you can tell everybody involved knows things never fully went back to what they once were when Dipset was really locked in together. Why talk about the back door that's going on for the Verzuz that you keep keying? But yeah, I wanted the bag. You heard? But we got the bag. But the boy still went backdoor like, "Yo, for me to do the Verzuz, you got to give me part of this business." That was unrelated to us. Did you hear him say, "That's me being a businessman"? Man, not you being a sucker doing backdoor. You heard? But nobody wants to talk about that. I ain't no backdoor ass. You heard? I stand on 10 doors and I break bread with my, period. That's always who I've been. Do I not? You heard? It's never been an artist I took advantage of. You heard? I'm not one of those guys, bro. When you went to Cam about it, he said that it was just me being a businessman. No, Swiss told me. I had to tell Swiss I knew what was going on. Jack, you call Swiss on the line and he tells you I did bad. You know Swiss, my brother. Zone. What's up, Z? You heard? So, I'm talking about actual facts. How did you find out about it then? Because I found out about a lot. You heard that, and it doesn't matter. What the matter is that I got to the bottom of it to see what it was. Now, Jim has been accusing Cam of doing certain things behind the scenes, and we'll get into all of that in a minute. But first, I had to be honest about this Lox versus Dipset battle. The Lox came from the same cloth, which is why Camron was able to fight alongside monsters during that legendary New York mixtape era. If you are old enough to remember that era, then you already know exactly what time it was. Back like 30 years ago, everybody was outside hunting down those DJ Clue tapes, DJ Dip mixtapes, Bad Boy mixtapes, and all them classic street CDs that had New York in a chokehold. That was the real era where artists built reputations bar by bar before social media even existed. And when it comes to Dipset, Jim Jones eventually turned himself into a real solo artist outside of just being part of the group, which honestly surprised a lot of people back then. But like I said before, that XXL cover really changed everything because it quietly created a line in the sand at a time when fans still didn't fully know where the Diplomats stood as a unit. Back then, people didn't have podcasts, live streams, blogs, and nonstop updates like today. Most information came from DVDs, radio interviews, mixtapes, or magazines. So, fans were basically piecing drama together little by little. And because of that, nobody really understood how serious the tension inside Dipset had become until things started playing out publicly. When Cam and the crew were going at Nas or other rappers on mixtapes, everybody looked united and locked in together. But once the situation with 50 Cent started heating up, people noticed the energy change completely. Fans began observing who was standing next to Cam and who wasn't, and when members subsequently appeared on stage with 50, the whole thing appeared even more chaotic. Joel's even declared, "Yo, I will support my brother. Like, I don't look at it like that. Like Jim said, he has something going on. I'm there with him." But fans continued to ignore the whole thing for years, like, yo, what was really going on behind the scenes? And now, in 2026, a lot more clarity is finally starting to come out. Things clearly changed inside those relationships, and the energy between everyone was way different than what fans thought back then. Now, fast forward years later, and Camron and 50 Cent ended up becoming cool again, which honestly reopened old wounds between Cam and Jim. That whole shift brought a bunch of old tension back to the surface. Then Jim went on The Breakfast Club at one point and accused Cam of trying to pull some shady behind-the-scenes moves during the Verzuz battle too. So this drama definitely didn't just disappear after the event ended. A lot of that resentment clearly stayed alive behind closed doors for years. But now, let's talk purely from a hip-hop standpoint for a second. When it comes to records, performances, stage presence, and who would probably win in a one-on-one versus battle, I've got to lean toward Cam personally. People can call me biased if they want, but I rock with Jim too. Jim absolutely earned his respect over time and built a strong catalog for himself. But as a rap fan, I'm still taking Killer Cam almost every time. Once you start bringing up projects like Come Home With Me, Purple Haze, Kill a Season, and all those legendary mixtape records, it gets real dangerous fast. And that's not even taking away from albums like On My Way to Church or El Capo, because Jim definitely delivered heat too. Now listen, I'm not even about to sit here and pretend Jim Jones hasn't leveled up over the years, because he absolutely did. Jim improved a lot as an artist and built a real catalog for himself outside of dips. But when you start talking about going head-to-head with Killer Cam, that's a completely different type of conversation, especially if they actually do this battle in Harlem, because that changes the entire energy instantly. Harlem brings emotion, history, loyalty, and nostalgia into the whole situation. And if this really happens, you've got to separate the Dipset group records for a minute and really look at Cam's solo run. We're talking Confessions of Fire SDE, Come Home With Me, Purple Haze, and a whole stack of mixtapes and classic freestyles. On top of that, Cam's discography runs deep, and there are a lot of records people still quote to this day that had nothing to do with Jim at all. Same thing for Jim too. But overall, I personally don't think it's even debatable that Cam is the stronger pure rapper between the two. Now, that doesn't mean Jim wouldn't have an edge in certain moments, though. If this battle happened in Harlem, emotions would be running wild on both sides. You already know some fans would be screaming that Killer Cam is going to destroy the stage, while other people would ride hard for Capo and say Jim has the streets behind him. The crowd would probably be completely split. But if we're talking strictly New York rap history overall, there are definitely people out there who would argue Cam belongs somewhere in that top 10 conversation. Top 20 out of New York, Cam is definitely in that conversation without question. Some people probably got him even higher depending on what era they grew up in. Now, Jim Jones deserves respect too, because his name always comes up in New York rap debates, especially after everything he built on his own over the years. We've already seen people arguing online about rankings, especially during all that Max B discussion and everybody debating who belongs where historically. Jim absolutely got his place in the conversation, but when it comes to matching Cam overall as an artist, I still don't fully see it personally. Now, like I've been saying this whole time, I honestly look at this possible versus battle more like a solution instead of another problem. The sad part is Dipset as a real functioning group has basically been a mess for years now. At this point, Dipset almost feels more like an idea or a memory of what could happen when everybody was fully aligned together. Fans still love the legacy because it showed what was possible when the chemistry was right, but realistically it's probably never going back to the way it once was. And that's before we even start talking about Cam's Boss of All Bosses era, the DJ drama tapes, the VTO situation, and all the other chapters connected to his career. That alone is a whole separate conversation by itself. But even with all the tension and years of back and forth shots between them, I still think a Harlem versus battle could actually calm some of the drama down and remove some of the bitterness that's been building between them lately. Now, personally, I honestly don't even know if this battle is really going to happen. One thing everybody knows about Camron is that he takes business very seriously. And if you want him involved in something this big, that bag better be right. Now, that's not saying Swizz or the Verzuz platform can't afford it, because let's be honest, if they somehow pulled this off, this could easily become one of the biggest Verzuz events of the entire year. But the real question is, what would it actually take to make this happen? Because if I'm Cam, I'm going full superstar mode for this battle. I'm bringing out Mace. I'm bringing out Cardan. And honestly, I might even try to bring out Mariah Carey just to shake the internet up completely. Cam got too many different layers in his catalog. He got street records, mixtape classics, freestyles, and then massive commercial hits that crossed over everywhere. That's what makes this matchup dangerous for Jim, because Cam can switch vibes instantly depending on the crowd. And if Cam starts performing records like That's Me or Losing Weight, the whole room is going to turn into a movie. At the same time though, Jim still got records that hit hard too, especially with Harlem behind him. Jules would probably end up caught in the middle, because fans would expect him to show love to both sides somehow. This whole thing really could become legendary entertainment if everybody stayed focused. But honestly, I don't know if there's enough organization, discipline, and most importantly, low enough ego to actually make something like this happen without everything blowing up behind the scenes first. Now look, if the money gets crazy enough, maybe everybody involved could put the tension to the side for one night and make it happen. But let's be honest for a moment. If this battle actually took place in Harlem, there would likely be 1,000 people standing on that stage at once. It would be total chaos from start to finish, and that's part of the reason people would tune in so quickly. I won't lie, it could turn into a legendary disaster in the best way possible. A few years ago, I hosted a Camron show at the Apollo, and I can honestly say that the energy felt like the early 2000s, 2001, and 2004, all those iconic Harlem eras rolled into one night. The crowd's reaction was insane, and the nostalgia was crazy, and people were still aware of every word, which is why the Jim vs. Cam debate is currently dividing fans because both of them still have genuine support behind their names. However, I want to hear from you guys. Can Jim Jones truly defeat Camron in a versus battle? Or is this whole idea completely unrealistic? And even with all of Cam's accomplishments in hip-hop, does Jim still have the right to publicly challenge him like this? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the hype button if you're killing it. In the next one, I'll see you everyone.